Hi there, my name is Guidry, and today I'm going to be talking about a few things that you're going to want to think about if you are starting a wedding photography business. As you're starting your business, one of the first things that you're really going to want to nail down is your base price. That's the minimum amount that you're going to be charging for your services. If you want to know how to do that, I have a free pricing guide in the description below. Make sure to download your pricing guide so that you can establish your base price right out the gate. Aside from establishing that base price, your minimum, there's a lot of other things that you want to do while you're starting your business. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out what type of business you want to be. For example, my business is an LLC, which is a limited liability corporation. As you're trying to decide whether you want to be a sole proprietorship or an LLC, I encourage you to consult with an attorney, someone who is a specialist in that arena, and they can help guide you in the right direction. I ultimately chose to become an LLC for my business because it helped me to separate my personal assets from my business assets. That's what a limited liability corporation does. Even if you're a limited liability corporation, you can still file your taxes as an S Corp, but you want to establish the type of business that you will be as a photographer. Once you've established your business type and you filed the paperwork, for example, if you're a Louisiana business, I know you filed through the Louisiana Secretary of State. And once you've done that, you are then ready to open up a business banking account. Some banks will require a minimum inside of your business banking account, but the great thing about a business banking account is that it very easily allows you to separate your business expenses and income from your personal expenses and income. This is one of the things that not everyone realizes when they start a business, but if you are making payments for the business, you're paying subcontractors, or you're buying gear, or any of the things that you're going to be doing as a wedding photographer, those expenses need to be separate from expenses that you're making for your personal self, for your family. Maybe it's groceries or your child's tuition. Those things are going to be completely separate. When you go to make those expenses and spend money on your business, one of the things that we did was we actually got a business credit card. You can also use a business debit card. The credit card will help you establish credit for the business, but of course you do want to pay that back as soon as possible because we don't want you getting into debt. But when it comes to your business banking account, you can use your credit card or your debit card for all of those expenses. And then of course, any income that comes in, you're going to deposit that into that bank account. It makes things super easy at the end of the year when you go to file your annual taxes because everything's separated. You can just categorize your expenses, add up your deposits, and you're good to go. So highly suggest doing that in the very early stages. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was starting my own photography business was I started photographing weddings with a camera that had one card slot. Thankfully, the wedding where I thought the card was corrupt, it actually allowed me to read the card on my card reader. It was a very, nerve-wracking situation at the time. I had put my card into the card reader and it kept showing that the images were corrupt. This is something that you don't want to be in that position experiencing, which is why I suggest that you use a camera with dual card slots. We're being hired to photograph these days, these moments and memories that are irreplicable. These are some of the most memorable, magical, sentimental moments that these couples will ever experience in their life. And it's a huge responsibility. And so the least that you can do, even if you can't afford to buy that camera, is rent it. I highly suggest that you do not photograph any sessions, any weddings, any professional services without dual card slots. Even as you become a professional and you have the dual card slots, I've heard from people that I've mentored in the past that they're only photographing with one card in a dual card slot camera. That puts you at such risk of, losing that card, or what if the card cracks, or who knows? There's so many things that could happen. And so having those dual card slots is imperative. And also, if you ever leave your camera, make sure you take one of the cards with you. If you're ever traveling, maybe even keep one in your pocket, keep one in the back of your car. I really go through all the scenarios in my head about the what ifs just because these moments are irreplicable. Like I said, they're very, very, very valuable. And we have been paid this sum of money because those clients are trusting us. In regards to the financial side, if you're in a position where you're not yet able to be full-time financially, I would suggest that you pursue photography part-time. No one says that you have to do this full-time in the beginning. In fact, when I started my business, I was in college. I was also working at the time as a campus advisor and a grad assistant. And so I was very busy building the side hustle of my business until I was able to go full-time. It took about 2 years for me to do that, and everyone's journey is a little bit different. I would say even after that 2-year mark, when I went full time in the 3rd year, I still wasn't really able to sustain a strong income. Thankfully, I was in a very cheap apartment at the time. I was renting cameras at a local shop, and so I was able to sort of make it work. But when you're starting a business, just know that it really is about the long game. Traditionally speaking, people say that it takes about 3 to 5 years to get to a place of financial stability in your business. So when you're starting your photography business, I do suggest that you have some other way to sustain your business in the beginning, and ideally not alone. If you can avoid getting a loan in the beginning, if there's some way that you can work another job and photograph weddings, that really is the best route, because then you'll be starting your business without any debt. The 5th thing that you're going to want to have when you're starting your wedding photography business is a very strong contract. I have an entire YouTube video just on strong contracts, what they should include and what they should say. But generally speaking, your contract is designed to protect you and your client in the case of all the what ifs. After 2020, when we went through the start of the pandemic, all the cancellations and reschedules, it taught me so much about the importance of a strong contract. We do also sell our contracts in our contract shop, which is catgeducation.com. So if you're interested in checking those out, you can do that there. Definitely have a strong contract that's lawyer approved. It's very important for your business. Do not do professional jobs and accept payment if you don't have a contract in place. The next thing that you're going to want to have is a very strong mindset. Having your own business, especially as an entrepreneur, a wedding photographer that, doesn't always have stable income that's recurring every month, you want to be in that mindset of understanding that this takes time. It's going to take time to build your clientele. It's going to take time to build your reputation, the organization of your business. And so when you make the decision to start this photography business because you're passionate about weddings and you know this is what you want to do, just know that you will always come back to that passion, and that as you do build the business, it will take time. Like all good things, they take time, and at some point you'll look back and be in awe of all of the ththings that you've done. But your mindset must be one of strength and endurance, and knowing that you're going to have ebbs and flows, and sometimes you're going to feel as high as you can, like on top of a mountain, like you're doing all the things right. And then there are going to be times where you feel like you can't do anything right and that you're messing up and you're making mistakes. I actually have a podcast called Mistakes Make Magic. And the reason why I started that podcast years ago is because I really wanted to get that message out that mistakes are truly a learning effort. They're things that have to happen. If you're always playing it safe, if you're never taking those risks and putting yourself out there and taking those chances, then you're never going to learn and you're never going to get where you want to go. And so as you're starting your business, just go ahead and get in that mindset that I am doing this because this is what I love, and I'm okay if it takes me a decade. I'm okay if it takes me longer than a decade, because everyone's journey is so different. But as long as you're in that mindset that you can do this and you have a good support system, which leads me to my next point, you are well on your way. And the last thing that I want you to have is a strong support system. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. Being a wedding photographer is not easy. I have missed friends' birthday parties, special events, baby showers, birthdays for little ones. All the things, not my own little ones. Thankfully, I've planned around that. It is very hard to make everyone's special events when you're photographing the special events for a living. And I kind of accepted that a few years into the business. I would get kind of down and I'd feel like, golly, I'm missing out on life. But I realized that a lot of our lives are spent working, and I love what I do. And I decided that I was okay missing out on some things in order to do what I love for a living. And so as you're stepping into this career, just know that it will come with sacrifices, just like any career. No job is perfect, but that, you know, it is worth it. And if you have that strong support system, people there cheering you on and, you know, showing up when you need the help, it makes all the difference. My husband, Brad, before he started second shooting with me, he was just there as a support system. Even before I started recording these videos, he came in here, he made sure that, you know, all the batteries were charged. He helped me focus the camera and just kept me company for a few minutes while I set up the lights. And that sort of support, it really does make all the difference. I'm actually recording this video at 10 o'clock p.m. My daughter is sleeping, it's quiet, I can sit down and focus on what I'm doing, and that's okay, because I know I can wake up in the morning with her when she gets up and have a great day. That's really the beauty of what we do too, is the flexibility. So have a really strong support system and know that there are others who also understand what you do, other wedding photographers. We have a community called the Wedding Photography Society, and it has been the coolest thing seeing the conversations about everyone who's essentially living the same lifestyle. People shooting on the weekends, having events at night. It's kind of cool to connect with other people who are, you know, on the same page and not feeling like you're the only one who's not working a 9 to 5. And so I want to congratulate you on the start of your business. I can say after doing this for almost 15 years now that it is an incredibly rewarding career. It has truly changed my heart, which I think is one of the biggest and most beautiful things in life, is the impact that what we do has on our being as a person. And photographing weddings has definitely done that for me, and I can't wait to see that happen for you. In addition, this has become a very profitable and sustainable business that has allowed me to work full-time, buy our home, and do things that I've always dreamed of doing. And I truly believe that if you follow the steps necessary to be a professional and to be a strong wedding photographer, that you can do that too. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next episode.